So I wanted to make a little bit of a quick and kind of brief video for people, and I know this is definitely a little different from what I usually film and record, but it has a reason to it. If it's not evident and obvious, um, this is my dog. This is Lilo. I've shown her on occasion on our little morning walks where I usually record. She's been with me for about 12 years. She's pretty much my nana. She's my best friend. She's been with me thick and thin, and kept me really resolved and um, disciplined to keep up on what it takes to, make sure I'm bringing in money and keeping her fed. Um, Recently, a couple days ago, um, she had a she had a stroke, and she's been doing good these past couple days. I've been assisting her, and she's getting up, walking around, um, doing all right. A little wobbly and disoriented. You okay, baby? So yeah, it's been a little difficult. Like I said, she's 12, and I know it's a reality, an inevitability that when it comes to pets, you know, they're in our lives for a period of time, and we do our best to kind of caretake and take care of them. But it's an inevitability that we all face that one day, you know, eventually they're they're gonna pass on too. No different than how people come and go in our lives. Now, with this video, I want to kind of expand on some stuff. Recently, this isn't the only thing that's been going on, due to this circumstance. I missed a day of work where I'm working right now. It's a pretty good place. I'm hoping that it doesn't lead to any repercussions with my current job. Um, but I know that my boss, understanding of the situation, probably wasn't too happy with the fact that I missed a day. Um, in the last couple days, um, I got back into doing some wrestling oriented stuff. I went to a local show in town that one of the feds that I worked with did, and Al Snow showed up, and I sat through a seminar with him. A couple days after that, I went with a student that I had been training with to another school. It's a little bit out of town. It's a couple hours away from here, kind of in the 209 area. And I trained under a lucha instructor who I was not aware of at the time, but made aware of. Helped train Penta and Ray Phoenix for a period of time. So, what I'm getting at in this video, um, right now, life's incredibly hard for a lot of people. Different things and different compounding circumstances always put us through things that remind us that life is not an easy game. In fact, if there's any semblance to reality that people realize, it's that life is oftentimes a very difficult and challenging game, not a fair one in all periods and portions of time. Um, to add with the situation of what I've been doing and why I'm oriented towards wrestling and pro wrestling, I've been doing it for about 7 years on and off, training and doing shows. And during these years that I've been doing this, I've gone through a number of jobs, opportunities that both just like fell through or loss of jobs, um, inability for like the schedules to be malleable enough to do my wrestling. The financial struggles of the last couple of years have made it really hard. I'm still living at home with a family of 7, going on a family of 8 pretty soon, and financially, it's pretty fucking rough. Even with that amount of people here, and a majority of them employed and working, it's not easy whatsoever, and it hasn't ever really been easy. That's always been the reality of how it's been. I think for a lot of people in the world right now, um, the false dichotomy of the world sometimes feeling like a secure thing, like a steady, stable thing, often leads us into this false sense that life and reality should be, you know, an easy thing. But a lot of the reality and a lot of the history of what life is and what the world is and what the world will show you is that it's anything but easy. And that should not be something to be afraid of, much like the realities of, the harder things that we have to deal with. Life's not something that we should be scared of just because of the reality being that it's difficult. Every day, we're met with circumstances that are going to challenge us. We're met with circumstances that aren't fair. We're met with circumstances that are going to constantly keep us on our toes and guessing about what potentially comes next. And sometimes we feel like we're in a position where we're barely keeping our heads above water and we're up a creek without a paddle. That shouldn't stop us from moving through life and doing our best in this life to try and make the most out of bad circumstances. We shouldn't be intimidated and have our resolves to try and continue carrying on and carrying through life dashed away by the reality and the challenge facing us, that life is not an easy and a fair game. In fact, that's part of life, and that's part of what makes life unique. You know, the bad things about the world and its history, it only makes a segment and a portion of the things that have transpired on this world, and it doesn't define the reality of this world. In fact, there are a lot more good things that have happened in the world than negative, destructive things, positive things. And we have to remind ourselves of that constantly, that the game only feels nihilistic and bleak and hopeless so long as we're living in and accepting the bitterest circumstance of realizing, the material nature of this world is, in a lot of essence, it's a spiral down a drain. It's what we do at that time, and that understanding and overcoming the odds and the obstacles of that being a reality that make life worth something and make life worth living and make life an experience not only to be had that's worth living for and going through the struggles of, but that compounds and passes that understanding on to other people and motivates and drives other people forward. The thing about life, regardless of the circumstances and the obstacles and the challenges we all face, because we all do, inevitably you have to come to a decision and a conclusion that are those things going to stop the momentum of everything that you resolve and strive for in this life? Are you going to let that define you? Or are you going to take that circumstantially and turn it into something that can be more positive for you and positive and beneficial for other people. That's what really makes and breaks you. If it breaks you, it inevitably compounds into something that defines you. It's just, is that circumstance defining the rebuilding and the rekindling of your character? Or is it breaking you down completely and leading you just towards accepting the inevitability that entropy is the only thing that happens? Well, they say in this life that not a single day goes by where that next day is guaranteed. But in the same vein and realm of thinking, you're not guaranteed to know when the end comes. And you can spend a lot of time, a long period of time, waiting around for things to change. You can spend an even longer time waiting for things to change without realizing that change only happens through you and when you decide to start moving in life. Things can move you, but you can move life as much as those things. It's up to you circumstantially to find the resolve and the recourse even when things seem like a pointless, hopeless thing, to make something positive of it. Right now, the world is struggling to find a whole lot of resolve as to why. Sometimes you don't need a reason as to why to go out and endeavor and strive or pursue to do anything. Sometimes the reason is you just do it for the sake of doing it, because life gives you an opportunity to. And it doesn't matter whether you succeed or fail in it. You do it because the opportunity is given. I hope a lot more people realize they have the opportunity to do with what is allotted to them, provided to them, even though it might not seem much circumstantially. You can still do incredible things with what's given to you. It's just up to you to be savvy with what's given to you. Use that mind of yours, use that heart of yours to create something out of the circumstances that are allotted to you. A negative doesn't have to stay a negative. You can turn a negative into a positive. You can turn it into something better. It doesn't have to define and set in stone the motion and the way and the direction things are going. If I've learned anything about human history that puts it in a more positive light than a negative light, is that there are a lot of people that went through the world and the world's struggles and all the hardships thrown upon them, and they didn't let that define or stop them from trying to rewrite the course in a positive direction. And I think we're all capable of doing that, even to the smallest degree. It's just up to us whether or not we choose to. But a lot of people realize you have more than ample opportunity to choose to make life a positive thing.